Hello, it's Chris Taylor again, and today I'm going to read you a family favourite. It's the Story of Ferdinand by Munro Leaf. It was first published in 1937, a very long time ago, but it is a fabulous story. I have to show you this illustration at the front of the book because it is so cool. There's a picture of Ferdinand the Fierce, El Toro, Ferocio, Ferdinando. The Story of Ferdinand. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. There they are, running and jumping and butting their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit quietly and just smell the flowers. He had a favourite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favourite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. What an odd tree. Can you see the corks? Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonely all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here, where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonely, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. Can you see him under the tree? As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. And there they all are, looking at a poster about the bullfights in Madrid. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. Can you see him now? He's got big, he's got horns on his head. One day 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. And you see the 5 men. This one looks very odd, doesn't he? Yeah. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favourite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him. And that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Wow, did it hurt. Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around, puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were mad. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. There's someone leading the parade with a trumpet. First came the banderilleros with long sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him angry. Next came the picadors, who rode skinny horses and had long spears to stick in the bull and make him angrier. Why would you do that? Last of all came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword. Can you see the sword being carried behind him? And that sword was supposed to stick the bull last of all. And then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you? Can you see him? It was Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce. And all the banderilleros were afraid of him. And the picadors were afraid of him. And the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his head around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce. No matter what they did, he just sat and smelled, and the banderilleros were angry, and the picadors were angrier, and the matador was so angry he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favourite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. He is very happy. The end.